go, 5 lights, and away we go. Edge on pole position. Off they go, and you see he's got a decent start there. Edge got a very good one. He's clear into turn 1, into 3rd place by the looks of it goes Silver.
Oh, and there's a car off! It's stopped almost into the wall. He lost a bit of his front wing.
All sorts of fun and games going on into the fast chicane there. Rev, oh, and OceanChief get together, and off goes Ocean into the wall. So Edge,
He's getting into the nose.
about a half a second ahead of Sergio. Sergio's running a little bit wide, hitting the wall on the inside. That was a big impact. I'm not sure whether it got any of the front wing. He looked like he might have been alright. Very close now. Copy having to go to the outside of Bams as they run through turn 8 absolutely side by side. And I think he might just have this sort of side by side on the exit. They're going to be side by side, I think, all the way up towards the far chicane. Who's going to blink here? Bams on the outside, Copy on the inside. Bams. Hello again, it's Terror again, back for some more F1 League Racing, 2SRL this time, as you can see the cars already out on track on qualifying for this broadcast. What do we have? We have 16 drivers and hopefully some really good action. We got Triton back in the seat. Why is that not showing up on screen? That is a good question. So if I do this, is that going to work? Let's have a look. There we go, that's going to work. So good thing I could check. But as you can see now, there are cars out on the track in this qualifying session. We've got 15 minutes or so to go. We have a dry qualifying session. And the man on your screen right now is back. He was at a Smash tournament yesterday. He's back here today driving for us in 2SRL. He's out on his first flying lap right now. So if the SLR race yesterday is anything to go by, as Triton now breaks himself for turn 2. If the SLR race is anything to go by, we're going to see some fast laps here. I imagine we're going to see something in like the 1:03s, 1:04s maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But Triton then did manage to hit the apex of the hairpin. He did a pretty good job going through this left-hander, through the next left-hander as well. Gets the power down nice and early. Could maybe have run a little bit wider there. But it's his first lap out of the pit, so maybe a little bit conservative. Into the final couple of corners. Effective is the first man across the line. He goes fastest on a 7.6, and Triton makes a big mistake and loses his wheel. We didn't see all of that, but I think he jumped across the curb there and into the wall, so we got drama immediately. Triton has crashed on his first flying lap, and yeah, that was quick. So Triton is going to be starting this race from the back, unfortunately for him. He will have free tyre choice, but he's starting from the back. We have Revo on a slow lap now. He's gone third on a 1:05.5 on the ultra soft tyre. Fastest of all, as Bants goes second fastest. Fastest of all is Nick, or Jack, whichever you prefer, on a 1:04.5. Tipsy still in the pit lane. We got a few drivers still in the pit lane. Video game player as well. He's relatively new to 2SRL. We have Slash LP out on track at the moment. He's on the soft tyre. Hugo's also going out on the soft tyre first of all, doing a 1:06.2, along with Effective and Danico, all in the 6s. So Triton rejoins the session. Good that he is going to start the race, we certainly want to see him coming through from the back of the field. We have Kirst still in the pits. Clara is on track in the other Mercedes. This looks like the end of a fast lap. Empty battery. So around the last corner goes Clara. And goes fourth on a 1:05.3. That's a good effort from Clara. Ahead of Revo. Revo having a rough day of racing so far. 2 iRacing races he's crashed out of, unfortunately. There's Tipsy. Ooh, Tipsy. Oy, ay, ay, ay. Almost in the way of video game player as he went up the hill. I think it was under control though. Jeremy also on a fast one. We're right on board with Jeremy for a bit. Second half of the lap. Brakes nice and late for the hairpin. Gets it turned in. A little bit of an early apex, ran a bit wide. It was good though. Hugs the track on the right hand side. Clips that apex, hits the second apex. A little bit of a late turn in there for that left hander. Missed the apex very slightly. Then moves to the outside of the track. Down for the last couple of corners. Just swing it into the penultimate corner. Oh, a little bit of oversteer there. Mid-corner had to correct. Down to fourth gear. All the way back up through the gears. And he does improve very slightly. Goes fourth. So Jeremy with a good lap there. Still 7/10 off pole though. As we see Revo now. He is on an out lap. I think Nick just left the pits as well. That was who Jeremy passed a second or so ago. So we should have a good race here today. We've got all of the good drivers out in force for 2SRL. Always good to see Bance and Nick and Hugo's and Revo and Triton all battling it out, and Tipsy and Jeremy as well. And in fact, everyone in the field hopefully is going to put on a good show today. On board with Tipsy. Oh, just runs a little bit wide there. Lots of understeer in that left-hander. Oh, understeer there as well. Missed the apex, unfortunately. And then the back straight he goes. The last couple of corners. And again, just struggling with the turning in that car. Maybe not got the setup where he wants it. Seems to be washing out with understeer every time he tries to turn in. Good lap though in any case from Tipsy. 1 minute 5.4 on the super soft tyres. That is good from him. I think he's going out for another one as well. So we'll stay on board with him for a while. He might run out of battery at the end of the lap. It is just about possible to do 2 laps here. You compromise your race a little bit if you do that. We've got yellows in the second and third sector. No idea who that is. Jesse goes into pit lane. Nick then on a fast one. Again, just struggling to get it turned into that left-hand apex. He's going to move all the way to the left and swing it in. And yeah, he really attacked that corner and the final corner as well. Oh, and he did what Triton did there, which is took too much of that curb on the inside and it spat him out to the left. Slowed him right down. Tipsy now crossing the line. He improves again, so he goes 5th on a 1 minute 5.2. That is a really good lap from Tipsy, given the tyre situation. In the top 5 on the super soft tyres. Strategy here is pretty clearly a one stop. You want to be either starting on the ultras or the supers and moving to softs. And someone we haven't given a lot of screen time to yet, Gusticles, who has just finished a lap. Unfortunately, he's not on another fast one. He goes 11th on a 1 minute 6.2. We have Hugo's on an out lap, and he is on ultra soft tyres for this run. So we'll switch to fitted now just to get a little bit more of a picture of what people are actually doing. Run a bit wide there on that left-hander. Not sure whether he will have gotten away with that. Oh, in fact, this is his out lap, never mind. He's just getting up to speed. I'll watch him for at least some of the fast lap. 8 minutes left in the session. We're about halfway through. Bance has gone second on a 1 minute 4.5 and has... No, that lap from Kirst is on ultra soft, so it would have been a very good lap if he'd done it on super soft, but he's in fact done it on ultras. In fact, we'll switch to that. It's confusing. Very neat and tidy from you guys. Oh, a little bit of oversteer on exit. Didn't really get the power down. the back straight he goes. Danico in 4th now on a 1 minute 4.8, and that is on the super soft tyre, so that is a really good lap. Danico Clara goes up to 5th on a 5.0. Lots of people improving. Hugo's again. Lots of people struggling to get it turned into that left-hander. Maybe you have to be super careful of that curb or something. Hugo's in fact abandons that lap. Decides to go into the pit lane instead. He's likely to be on a fast one. Effective is not on a fast one, unfortunately. He's 10th at the moment. Jesse is on a fast one, though. He's not put a lap in yet. So we'll see what he can do here. Yeah, he does hit that curve, and I think he struggled to get the power down because of it. So he might have been slowed down there. Oh, and a little bit of a... Is that a screen freeze there for Jesse, unfortunately? So, through the last couple of corners. It was neat and tidy through the last couple of corners, at least. Crosses the line, goes 7th. Good lap from Jesse. 1 minute 5.1 from him. Now we have Kirst, who I think is on a fast one. Never mind, not on a fast one. Oh, is he on a fast one? I don't know. Trying to sort out his settings. Danico retires. I don't know if that's a crash, or if he just decided to retire. Probably a crash, though, with 6 minutes to go. You don't want to be doing that. We'll see if we can see what happened to him from this onboard. Nah, nothing particularly. So Kirst doesn't manage to complete that lap. I guess he invalidated it somewhere. So here is your current pole sitter on a fast one. 1 minute 4.5 from Jack so far, or Nick. Through the first left-hander, through the second. Did get it hooked into the apex that time. That was much nicer. Got the power down very nicely. Swings it into the last couple of corners. Into the final corner. Didn't take any curb really there through the last corner. You want to be taking a little bit. He's going to cross the line and improve once again. So another 2/10 off the fastest lap from Nick. He's into the pits. Is Revo on a fast one? No, he's not. I don't know if he's just been on a lap or if he's on an out lap. It's maybe like he's on an in lap. There's Tipsy being pushed into the pit lane. Yeah, you put your foot down, Kitsune. I think that's a good idea. Can't let Tipsy disturb you. Good lap from /LP. 1 minute 4.6 again. Is that on the supers? Yeah, on the supers. So good stuff from him. With /LP and Danico putting it way up the grid there in the top 5 on the super softs. We'll see if anybody can displace them. Hugo's not doing another lap? Don't know. Maybe he's just waiting to the end of the session to put the supers on, because he knows he can't go on a one stop. On the pad it's a little bit more difficult than it is on the wheel. Stinger decides he's not going to do a lap. Oh dear, that's not how you enter the pit lane. Oh no. Stinger with no front wing left. So they'll have to fix that. Effective heading down to the hairpin. So Effective was quite quick in a couple of races so far this season. Towards the back of the field, but giving it plenty through that left-hander. Missing an apex again, like a lot of people have been in the second left-hander. the back straight towards the final couple of corners. And he also abandons the lap. So here we go then, end of the session. 2 minutes 20 left. And a fast lap for Bance. I think this is a fast lap. Oh, it's not a particularly fast lap, and he decides to retire from the session in embarrassment at the way he took turn 2. Maybe. Slash LP also retires from the session. Cursed on an outlap. So we got a bunch of people on outlaps. Gusticle's probably also at least on a slow lap. It doesn't say he's on an outlap, but he's certainly not on a fast one. Revo then is the first person to cross the line that we have seen in this batch on a fast lap. So here is Revo's ultra soft lap. He's down in 11th at the moment. Takes a very nice apex through turn 1. Hugo's, I believe, is on super softs. He is. Everyone else on track is on ultras. Only Hugo's on supers. Right at the end of the session. Revo gets the power down very nicely out of the tight turn 2. And towards the hairpin. His effective retires. He doesn't manage to improve any further. He will start no better than 12th. Revo swings it on the curb on the outside. Hits the apex there very nicely. You hear him just struggling to get the power down. That was a good apex for that left-hander. And the back straight towards the last 2 corners. Through the last corner. Doesn't run wide and the run to the line. Revo goes 5th on a 1 minute 4.8. Now it's going to come quick and fast from here. As Nick is halfway around his lap. Jeremy crosses the line. He goes into the 1 minute 4s. 1 minute 4.987 from him. Goes up to P8. Tipsy seems to be on a fast one. I think Kirst is about to cross the line. He was 4th, and I think he's going to stay 4th. I don't think he's improving. He's not. So he crosses the line. That lap. Revo is not doing a fast lap. Hugo's goes 2nd on the super soft tyres, and that is a very good effort indeed from Hugo's, who has put himself in a really good position. That is a great lap from Nick though. 1 minute 4.0. Much faster than anyone else in this session. Jesse goes 4th. That's a really good effort from Jesse. Into the top 5 on the ultra soft tyres. Who else has still got to complete laps? Revo going very slowly, trying to preserve his tyres. Stinger. Oh yeah, that's not how you do that. Once again, we see him enter pit lane out of control. Jeremy also pulling into the pits. I think that's our grid. I think that is it. Nick on pole, Hugo's 2nd, nearly half a second between them, but Hugo's on those super soft tyres. Everyone else in the top 10, except for Danico, starting on ultras. So Revo's retires. We just need Jeremy to retire now. And we can get on with the race. And there he goes. So, eventually it's going to show me the grid, I think. There we go. Nick on pole, Hugo 2nd. 2nd row is Bance, and Jesse with a great performance up in P4. Slash LP and Kirst on the 3rd row. Kirst couldn't reproduce his front row start from SLRT at 2. Noel has joined the session, so Noel, I think, will start the race. And Triton right at the back. We saw him have a big crash on his first effort, so unlucky for Triton, but there's still a whole race to go for him to make that up. That's a very gloomy picture, isn't it? I wonder if it's at all wet. I wonder if it's going to get wet anytime soon. It might do. We will see. Because rain in the race here in Austria does make it very interesting indeed. And we saw that most drivers wanted to start on the ultra soft tyres. Hugo's deciding to go with the super softs instead. Yep, if it's rain, it will be carnage. So, what do we want? Tyre. I think that's what we want. So, formation lap. Nick leading the field away. Hugo's on the front row in that Renault. Really good effort from Hugo's. Starting on the super soft tyre. We see all of the tyres and we see everyone at the back on the super soft tyre, except for Triton, who is not on the super soft tyre. He's on the soft tyre instead. And also it looks like Noel is not starting the race, unfortunately. He maybe didn't connect in time. So he will have to watch from the sidelines. So we have 2 people disqualified from the session at the back. So they will start on cold tyres. Nick going quite slowly as he leads everyone away through the last few corners. Unlucky Noel. There is Bant starting third, who abandoned me in the qualifying, in the commentary booth today. We were going to do a commentary, but Bant's had better things to do, like race. So the grid form's up then, and we're going to get ready to start. Don't know if there's going to be rain, we will see. If there's rain, it'll be extra fun for this 36 lap Austrian Grand Prix. We expect it to be a one-stop race. Ultras or supers onto softs. It's much more comfortable if you're on supers though. Here we go, 5 red lights, and away we go in Austria. No jump starts, unlike yesterday. Really good start from Bantz. He goes up the middle and 2 cars deep of 3 wide, and lots of people diving into the first couple of corners. Very good start from Hugo's and a poor start from Nick. Side by side heading towards the second corner. Hugo's and Bantz. Revo, I think, fell all the way down the field. What happened to Revo? Didn't exactly see. Yeah, he's right at the back. Meanwhile, at the front, oh, and sideways goes Bantz, just being squeezed a little bit by Hugo's through turn 2. Clara gets himself a penalty as well. A little bit further back. Jesse had a pretty good start there. Nick in third. Oh, and Jesse gets rear-ended by Kirst, I think. Don't know if he lost any front wing there at all, but Jesse right on the back of Nick and running a little bit deep into that left-hander as well. So a little bit of a chaotic start here in 2SRL. Jeremy has left the session. Is he disconnected? Yes, it looks like it. So something happened to Jeremy. Something also happening to Tipsy. The thing that's happening is that he's side by side with Noel through the penultimate corner. Didn't really leave him any room there, did Noel? And Tipsy will try and get him back down this main straight, but the end of the first lap, Hugo's and Bantz pulling away, at least for the time being. Nick third, Jesse fourth, having a very good race. Kirst actually moved up a place from his grid slot into fifth and has to defend from /LP. Oh, and almost runs into the back of Jesse as well. Jesse braking quite early there as they headed into the second corner. So Hugo's, Bantz, Jesse. Oh, and a crash, and Jesse being rear-ended by Kirst and sends him around. Didn't get all of that, but Kirst, well, that is not what he will have wanted to do. I imagine he's lost some of his front wing. He's dropped behind both Clara and TipsyBob, but poor Jesse, who had such a good start, being sent around. There he is, right at the back of the field. Tipsy getting a 5-second stop and go for no reason that will be taken off, I'm sure. Through to complete lap 2 then. Hugo's with the fastest lap of the race. There they all are, the front 6 drivers. Hugo's leading the way on those super soft tyres. He's pulling away from everyone on super softs as well, which is a real achievement. So there they are in the front 2, all bants with all sorts of oversteer on the exit of that. Lost it on traction just for a moment. Got it back, fortunately for him. We've not really followed Triton either in this race. Triton has made up lots of places from his grid slot. And I missed Stinger retiring as well at some point. So Stinger retired. He was, I think, some way up the grid. But unfortunately, not able to finish this race. Good battle here between Video Game Player and Danico, both on super softs. They both had free tyre choice. Starting outside the top 10. Hugo's with another fastest lap. And there are your front 3. Nick staying with these 2. Tipsy putting a little bit of pressure on Clara for that 4th position. Cursed now, maybe with damage, not exactly sure. Tipsy having a little bit of a look to the inside. Clara holding his position for now, though. And Danico, I think that was a little bit of lag there. Danico falling back. Revo with the fastest lap of the race. He's unfortunately right at the back, though. A long way behind. Something happened to him at the start. Didn't really catch what. Maybe the stream did, I'm not sure. Again up front. Oh, a little bit of a mistake from Bant, I think, there on the exit of that left-hander. Just again got a little bit of oversteer. And in fact, he's lost that 2nd place, hasn't he, to Nick. So that happened at some point. I was thinking Bant was in the Ferrari when I looked at the 3 of them, but of course he can't be. Because Nick and Revo back in the Ferrari, as they always have been in 2SRL. So Bant's having a few struggles in the first few laps of this race. And Nick, though, looking interested in that 1st place. Goes down the inside, brakes very late and gets it stopped. Very nicely done from Nick. Good move into the lead. And he has DRS as well for the next straight. So Nick, now on those ultra soft tyres, might be able to make a break. Not exactly sure. These 2 still side by side then, Clara and Tipsy. Oh, Clara just running a bit wide. So Tipsy inherits that 4th position. 2 Mercedes now 5th and 6th. A little bit further back, Triton following Video Game Player, 7th and 8th. And a bit further down, Jesse and Danico recovering from their incidents. Jeremy, I guess, disconnected and then reconnected immediately. First penalty of the race for Bantz, unfortunately for him, so 3 seconds. I'll try and keep track of these as much as I can. Kirst gets 3 seconds. 3 seconds, the first of what I'm sure will be many penalties today for Miloš Martika. And Tipsy gets one as well, so coming in thick and fast now. Bantz having a little bit of a look at the inside there of Hugo's, but nothing really doing. Out of turn 2 they go. Down towards the hairpin. That's becoming a big gap now. Hugo's to Bantz. Noel missed it by seconds. That's really unfortunate. Unlucky indeed. Jesse has passed Gusticles, I think, because Gusticles spun by the looks of it. Meanwhile, Kirst under quite a lot of pressure from behind, the Sauber Video Game Player. And also the pass of Triton, who I think just lagged out a little bit. It was closer than that, I'm pretty sure. Tipsy's front wing is damaged, apparently. Didn't see when that happened, but good to know. ItzTriton now looking to make a move on video game player, and unfortunately... Oh no, that is... Yeah, so he does make that move. I thought he lagged behind for a second there as well for some reason, but he definitely didn't. So Nick now having to defend. 3 seconds for Revo, who has been setting fastest laps on the super soft tyres. So he does have really good pace, Revo. He goes around the outside on those super soft tyres. Does make the move. Nicely done. These two battling for the lead. Nick will, of course, have to pit fairly soon, I would imagine, on those ultras. Well, Tipsy's doing a very good job up in P4 if he got wing damage very early on. Just looking at his onboard. Doesn't seem to be affecting him too much. What has happened that caused the yellow? Has Cursed... Something happened with Cursed. Not exactly sure. He's fallen behind Triton, though. So maybe he decided to have an adventure in the gravel. And while the front three... Hugo's Nick and Bance. Hugo's with the tyre advantage now, I would have thought. We're getting to the point where that super soft will be faster than the ultra. Triton moves past video game player once again. Oh, and he's coming back though, the Sauber. Oh, and that wasn't very clean. Unfortunately, just pushes Triton out of the way. So, keeps the position for now. Stewards might want to look at that though. And while behind them, Cursed and Jeremy battling for 8th. Cursed going to be struggling on those tyres. Jeremy down the inside of that left-hander, so he takes that position. Cursed again running a little bit wide on the exit. No harm done though. And through they go. Here are the front three. Hugo's being chased by Nick. Vance struggling now to hang on to the back of that group. Gusticles gets himself a penalty. Jesse pits from what was 10th. He does, I think, get it slowed down before the line. We have something... We have yellows for some reason. Not sure why. Tipsy lost a little bit of time. Maybe it was Tipsy. Tipsy and Clara now together on track. Clara will have the better of the tyres. And Bance has fallen out of DRS range, so Bance struggling a little bit more than Nick is to hold the back. Oh, you can see just all sorts of out of shape there in the left-hander. Bance really struggling to hang on to that McLaren. Might have to pit sooner than he will have wanted to. Triton with a 3-second penalty. He's making really good progress, though, through the field on those soft tyres. Cursed pits from... And of course he gets a pit lane speeding penalty. So 8 seconds worth of penalties now for Cursed. He will leave the pit lane, and he will have left the pit lane by now, I'm sure. Oh no, maybe not. They changed his front wing, did they? Looked like they might have changed his front wing. Tipsy and Clara still battling. This is for 4th. Clara to the outside. Tipsy covering the inside line. Okay, Clara will have better tyres at this point. Might have the traction on the exit of the corner. Didn't quite have the run. Decides not to send it. Tipsy went a little bit deep though. Left the door open. Still side by side. Tipsy going to have to give room on the second part of this. Oh, was there a little bit of contact there? Tipsy, you could see him struggling to hang on to the McLaren. As Bance gets himself his 2nd penalty. And Clara now up the inside, and that was fairly inevitable, I think. More yellows. These seem to be phantom yellows, though. I don't see anything happening. Bance pitting, so he's the first of the ultra soft runners to pit, and he changes his front wing as well, so he did have some front wing damage. And he's going to leave the pit lane. Please tell me he's leaving the pit lane. Well, that looked very late. So I don't know why that was. But he might have just lost a bunch of time for no reason. Meanwhile, Tipsy and Clara are still together. Bant's on soft tyres now, but he lost a lot of time there. He's now... How far is he behind the leader? He was 5 seconds behind the leader. He's now 42 seconds behind the leader. So he lost... I mean, you'd expect a pit stop to lose, when you change your front wing, to lose maybe 25 seconds. He lost 35. Tipsy pits from what was 4th position behind Clara on the ultra soft tyres, so he doesn't get a penalty, takes that pretty conservatively. Triton making his way through very effectively indeed in this race. Good battle at the back as well. Bant's now having to fend off Jesse with tyres that are probably not completely up to temperature yet. Jesse, of course, has had his own struggles this race. He was hit by Kirst. Jesse now fully in DRS. Not really close enough to make a move in the hairpin this time. Bant does have to cover the inside though, side by side as they go into the hairpin. Lock up a little bit from Jesse. Not able to make the move though. Bant's putting his car in exactly the right place. In fact, he was behind at the detection point there, so he got DRS there as well. Oh, Jesse with a big lock-up. Really struggling to get that car turned as Kirst manages to deal with Effective in the right-hander. Well, further forward, oh, Clara really struggling to get the power down, and that will give Triton that 3rd place. Presumably that wasn't a real contact between those two cars. The spectator bug playing tricks on me. Tipsy got a 5-second penalty. Oh, right. So, yeah, I remember that actually. And yeah, that will almost certainly be removed for passing under yellows. They're pretty much always removed, because the game does not really have any idea what is actually a safe overtake and what isn't. Kirst and Effective and Tipsy, excuse me. Effective coming back down the inside. Tipsy holding it really well around the outside. Effective on much older tyres, of course. He's going to have another run here. 3 more seconds for Triton, so it's 6 for him now. Yeah, I'd really like to know what happened to Bant. He seemed to get held in the pits for a long time for no reason. Triton up to 3rd now. Nick pitted from what was 2nd. So he's now on soft tyres, presumably until the end of the race. So the race should settle down just a little bit here. It's Triton. What happened to Triton? Wasn't he battling with Clara? Triton now behind Clara again. Well, Bantz and Jesse still going at it. So I don't know whether Tipsy will have served the 5 seconds in the pits. If he did, then he's actually 5 seconds further up the road than he was, or than he looks like he is, as it were. Because that penalty will almost certainly be removed. This then is the battle for 2nd. Triton going very wide there on the exit of turn 1. It's usually a warning if you do that. I don't know if there are ways you can reliably get around it. There might be. Now he's just going to outbrake him into this turn 2. And he does pretty comfortably, and he's even got DRS for the 2nd straight, so no problem whatsoever for him. Nick chasing down Jeremy on much better tyres. So he will be in DRS range, I would imagine, for the front straight. This race coming together very nicely. The gap between Nick and Hugo's is the important one, because Hugo's has just pitted, so Hugo's only able to take the super softs 1 lap longer than Nick was able to take the ultra softs. Three seconds for Clara, who's having a very good race up in 3rd place. So Hugo's pits, he's still in the lead on track right now. Looked like a good pit stop. And he comes out behind Triton, behind Clara, but quite some way ahead. In fact, not that far ahead, because there's several cars in quick succession, but he got ahead of the 2 Saubers, which is very important, because Nick will have to overtake both of them. I think he's getting one of them here, because Jeremy runs very wide on the exit of turn 2, so no problem with that one. He now has a video game player to deal with. Of course, he's on so much better tyres that he'll have so much more grip. You can see the traction there on the exit of the hairpin. The left-hander then. And then the next one. Again, just able to carry much more speed through that corner. Wonder if he's going to have a look here. He's in hot lap DRS mode. Another 3 seconds for Triton. These are a lot of penalties for Triton. We're up to at least 9 now for him. Not really able to have a go there. Doesn't really... Maybe he's close enough here. Not sure if he wants to, though. Does want to. Another go down the inside. Leaves plenty of room on the exit. Good racing with the 2 of them. Nick, of course, now will have DRS, so he'll be able to drag his way past. Into turn 2. Now, depending on what the traction situation is... Oh no! One video game player was trying so hard to get the power down on much older tyres. And around he goes. So he's lost quite a lot of time there. And in fact, he's going to lose that 4th position as well. The Slash LP, who's on those soft tyres, having recovered from the back of the field. And yeah, even locks his brake there, going into the hairpin. So video game player is going to have to pit very soon indeed. Meanwhile, up front, Hugo's on much better tyres, has caught Triton now. And these 2, of course, both championship contenders. Hugo's leading the championship. Triton very fast as well, so I don't know if Triton will want to hold Hugo's up here. He certainly won't be jumping out of the way. I imagine he'll also have an eye on his own race and try not to lose too much time. Hugo's, though, struggling to get close enough into turn 2. He still really isn't using very much hybrid at all. He's not close enough into the hairpin either. And all of this is going to be allowing the car you see in the distance, the red Ferrari, that one there, to catch him, because Hugo's is being held up quite a lot here. Triton on 17 lap old softs. We go through the right-hander. Revo has pitted. Revo's got good pace. He just suffered a little bit at the start. Hugo's, I guess, just keeping his distance for the time being. It is now. He's got a full battery. And here, what is Hugo's doing? Turning his battery off, I guess, waiting for this straight. And then he's going to go. Here he goes, then overtake mode on the ERS. But again, having to send one just a little bit. He does have much better tyres, so he can do that. Triton with not much traction on the exit, not really able to get close enough on the next straight. So that is the pass for the lead then. Hugo's... Oh, and an absolute send from Triton. What on earth was that? Oh, dear. Thankfully, I don't think it did any damage. But my goodness. He absolutely launched that car into the side of Hugo's. Like I said, don't think he got... Maybe he did get damaged. Not exactly sure. He looked like he understeered a lot there. And even lags a bit there, so he's now under pressure from Nick. Not pitting this lap. So maybe not damage, but oh, and just, yeah, running off track again. Nick just driving past in that Ferrari. So 2.6 seconds the gap up front. Nick is on 2 lap older tyres than Hugo's. But we know with Hugo's on the pad, it's very difficult to keep your tyres fresh on the pad. It's much easier on the wheel. And Nick is on the wheel. So this is a battle for 6th place then. We have 3 drivers, well, 2 drivers that are on soft tyres that I think are going to the end of the race, or trying to at least. Oh, Jeremy puts his nose in there where maybe he shouldn't have done. Gets himself alongside Jesse. But Jeremy is on ultra soft tyres, as Effective has had, oh, a crash in the background there, so he's really struggling in that Renault, and I think he's missing half a front wing as well. So Effective has got a long way to go to get back to the pit lane as well. It's unfortunate for him. Jesse trying to defend from Jeremy. Jeremy on ultra soft tyres, so he'll have much more grip. Trying to go around the outside there, not really able to do it. Jeremy looking both ways to try and get past Jesse. Jesse just defends to the inside. 3 seconds for Video Game Player, who's still out on those super soft tyres. Maybe trying to stretch them to put on a set of ultras for the end of the race. Meanwhile, Jeremy needs to get past Jesse quite quickly. It's difficult though, because Jesse also has DRS from Bantz. Gap at the front has stabilised. Oh, a bit of oversteer from Jesse. Got away with it just about. Jeremy's out of battery though, unfortunately for him. Trying to use as much of it as he can, but it's not all that much. Video Game Player really struggling on those super soft tyres. You can see the telltale line on those tyres is pretty well defined now, down the middle. So he is not going to have much grip at all, and he's got 2 cars trying to overtake, and Jeremy did eventually manage to get that move done. So Jeremy up to P4 in the other Sauber. Jesse also gets past. And Video Game Player staying out another lap. So that'll be 23 laps on the super soft tyres. Triton with another penalty. I think we're down to what, 12 seconds or thereabout. Oh, who's that spinning in the background? That was Clara having a half spin on the exit of the final corner. So what else is happening? Tipsy and Kirst on very similar tyres. Kirst to the outside, Tipsy on the inside. Kirst trying to brake late enough, but not really able to do it. Tipsy leaving room on the exit. Good racing from the 2 of them. Kirst now will be all over the back of that McLaren with the DRS and the slipstream. And he's going around the outside. Ooh, just about managed to hold it. Good stuff from Tipsy though. Keeping his car in there. He left room on exit. Good racing. As Triton. Oh, what happened to Triton? Oh dear. He was battling, I think, with Slash. And that looks like the end of his race. I don't even know where that is on track. How did he get there? Is that the hairpin? He went straight on? Oh dear. In any case, yeah, I think that is the hairpin, isn't it? He went straight on. So that is effectively the end of Triton's race. And he probably is going to be pulling into the pits very soon indeed. What's the situation up front then? Jeremy catching Bantz. I think Jeremy will have to pit again though. There's another. Oh, and Tipsy passes Video Game Player. Video Game Player is still out on those super soft tyres. So he's taken them 22 laps. It will take them 23. 3 seconds for Hugo's. That's his first, I think. I don't think Nick has any yet. So Nick now is 3 seconds closer to Hugo's than he was. And something has happened to Video Game Player, and I suspect I know what has happened to Video Game Player. I guess he just spun. He doesn't have a puncture. I thought maybe he'd have a puncture. Oh, you see how little grip he has though. on those very, very old super soft tyres. He's got 2 cars all over the back of him. It's Revo and Clara. Oh, Revo hits him and into the wall, and losing his front wing goes Video Game Player. Oh, it's really not Revo's day today. It's not Video Game Players either on those very, very old tyres. He and Clara both trying to get through. You'd think with the experience of passing GTEs, Revo would have been a little bit careful. But unfortunately, he takes him out, and Video Game Player will have to change that front wing and those very old tyres as well. Jesse then right up behind Jeremy. I think Jeremy has passed Jesse in the not too distant past. Jeremy going to be chasing down Bance. Not sure when he's going to be pitting though. He will have to pit again, probably for another set of ultra soft tyres. Trying to make the 2-stop work. Further back /LP and Kirst together on track. Kirst in the Mercedes /LP in the Red Bull. And they're both not too far behind Tipsy. /LP on much better tyres though. Goes to the outside. I think he'll probably be able to brake later than Kirst. Kirst going to be having a look to the inside, but yeah, not able to brake as late. And what tyres is he actually on? Because my graphic says super softs, but the tyres on his car are actually ultra softs. I think that means he's probably on supers. Don't really know though. Jesse and Jeremy again battling for 4th. What happened there? Jeremy must have made a mistake, because he was chasing Bance down, but I guess the tyres now are in a position where they're getting the better of him. Jesse having a look to the inside, not really able to do anything though. And Jeremy, I think, should be faster. In fact, Jeremy definitely should be faster. As I said, he must have made a mistake of some description to let Jesse get that close. Tipsy and Slash, this is for 6th. Slash having passed Kirst already. I think he'll be able to make short work of Tipsy here. Down the outside, and easy peasy into 6th place. Tipsy realising that Slash is on much, much better tyres and not really able to put up much of a defence. Jeremy has been passed again by Jesse at the end of those 3 straights, and Triton has pulled the plug on his race, which hasn't gone too well for him, unfortunately, in the Haas. He had that mistake in the first run of qualifying, and then did a pretty good job coming through the field, but then, well, we only saw the aftermath of what I assume was an incident with /LP that caused him to be in the wall and effectively out of the race. So Jeremy then, 10 laps to go in this race. The situation up front, we haven't really talked about this, but Gusticles, I guess he's on better tyres than Nick, so that is reasonable to overtake Nick in that position. He'll have to get out of range of the automated blue flags, of course, but he should be able to do that on better tyres. Gusticles a lap down, of course, and then has some sort of a lag situation. He's still on track, but some way behind now, so that will have cost Nick some time, probably a lot of time in fact. Yeah, he did a 1:09 last lap, which is much slower than his fastest lap, which is 1:07. But the situation up front is that Hugo's has 3 seconds of penalties, I think, and Nick does not have any penalties, I think. So on the track he's 7.5 seconds behind. In practice, or in reality, he's 4.5 seconds behind. Gusticles decides to retire from the session, I guess maybe because of those connection issues that he was having. It's gonna rain soon, says Noel. That'll be interesting. Maybe that's why Jeremy is still out. Maybe he's hoping for rain. Clara gets himself another penalty in that Mercedes. But there are only 8 laps to go in this race, so... Oh, and sideways into the hairpin there was Jeremy. Those tyres are not going to be in good shape. In fact, let's see exactly what Jeremy's tyre situation is. Looking for raindrops at some point. Oh, Jeremy, you see him just like having to baby the car through the corner. He really was struggling. Is that the rain animation you can see on the car? I have a feeling it might be. I think it's raining. So with 8 laps to go, we have the rain that was threatened from the start of the race, and yeah, it's definitely raining now. And that will spice things up. I fear, though, that it might be too late for Jeremy, who is going to run out of tyre before it is time to put on the intermediate. It might not even ever get to the point where it is the time to put on intermediate, because the rain started so late. So there is Tipsy. He is in P7. Chasing Slash LP. Jeremy and Jesse, you can see exactly how much Jeremy is struggling through those 2 corners, but it is nowhere near the point at which Jeremy will need to change those ultras. Oh, and again, Jeremy just like all sorts of sideways. It's a real struggle for him at the moment. And even worse than that, he's going to have to defend the position from Jesse, who looks to the inside, decides not to make a move. Can get a better run here, though. Heading to this hairpin. Jeremy half covering the inside. Jesse deciding not to go for it. And again, oh, rip Jeremy into the wall. And doing a very graceful 360. He recovered it very well, but the spin has cost him quite a bit of time. And those tyres have absolutely had it. Oh dear, and you can see once again he's been passed by Kirst. And he's having to be so gentle through the left-hander. And I guess with it raining as well, those tyres are just crying enough. Further up, I'm just going to see if Jeremy pits this lap. I imagine he probably has to pit this lap. And yeah, I think he is. Yeah, he pits this lap, so... Don't know what tyres he's going to put on, whether it's going to be intermediates or another set of ultra softs. But Jeremy's race has effectively ended, I think, with that situation. Although he will still get a point, I believe. He's still going to stay into it. He's going to put on intermediate tyres. Well, in which case he might not get a point, honestly. Because it doesn't look like it is anywhere near intermediate weather to me. Slash LP on those super soft tyres. Having to be a tiny bit careful. Tipsy putting pressure on Jesse. Poor Triton. Rip for Triton indeed. Didn't get the full incident on camera. We got the aftermath. But we saw you miles off the track in the barrier. Very unfortunate. Tipsy gets himself a penalty. Somebody... Is that somebody pitting? Yeah, Jesse pitting. Does get it slowed. So I wonder what tyres he's going to put on. I guess those soft tyres have had enough. So we'll see what tyres he puts on. And he is putting inters on as well, so maybe it isn't that far away from intermediates. Let's see Jeremy. Jeremy, I believe, is on intermediate tyres. He looks like he's on super soft, but he's actually on intermediates. So maybe we're not that far away. Oh, Jeremy. That's not the line. That's not the line. Track map for Jeremy Peters. Oh, the two Mercedes. What on earth? Deciding to drive into each other down the straight as they head for the hairpin. Clara does manage to get ahead. He's on much better tyres than Kirst. Revo also sniffing around just behind them. The situation up front, by the way, is Bantz again looks like he's going to lose the car every single time he goes through the final corner, but manages to save it. Sorry to hear that, Triton. Bad luck today, man. But Slash LP, I believe, has fewer penalties than Bantz, so I think Slash LP will be on the podium today, and I think Tipsy might as well, although that might be close. Bantz really struggling with those tyres. You can see him running very wide there on the exit of the right hand, very tight turn 2. I think there's a glitch happening as well, in which it's not really raining on my screen, but it is in the race itself. You can see on the car, look, there's raindrops on the car. But not in this view, for example. Revo has overtaken Kirst at some point. Oh, Kirst has run very wide, I guess, in the hairpin. Didn't see exactly when. Effective gets himself 3 seconds. Slash LP, I think, is going to make that 3rd place official here by passing Bantz. To the right-hander, Bantz. Very careful getting the power down. 3 laps to go in this race. Hugos is going to win. He is 13 seconds ahead of Nick in 2nd place. Slash LP takes 3rd place from Bantz on track. He's ahead certainly on penalties as well. And Tipsy, with a tyre situation that's very similar to Bantz. He's on very old soft tyres. Is probably close to Bantz. Not exactly sure how far away he actually is, but I think he might have less penalties than Bantz does. Kirst is someone who has quite a few penalties. And you can see the runners on intermediate tyres right now. That's a 1 minute 18 from Jeremy, which I'm afraid isn't going to get the job done. Video game player on those ultras hunting him down. Struggling to get it stopped, but not struggling as much as Jeremy was through that right-hander. That is the Sauber of Jeremy just ahead. From the Sauber of video game player. Oh, Jeremy having so much struggle getting it through the hairpin. To the next left-hander they go. And it looks like we will not see intermediate conditions in this race unless it happens in the last lap. But Jeremy, oh dear. Wiggling his way down the straight because he just doesn't have any traction at all. And in fact, is he coming back up the inside? There he has, but of course he's inevitably run extremely wide because he has no grip at all. And video game player takes the final points position, at least for the time being. Up front though, Hugos is on his last lap. He's heading down to the hairpin now. It's been a very good drive. Who is that across the track? Well, there's your answer. It is Milos Martika, who's decided to have another adventure. And unfortunately, I think that might have cost him that 8th position. So I think he might finish 9th. Is he? Oh, does he have a puncture? Is that what's happening? Yeah, he has a puncture. So he's going to struggle to get to the end. I think he can get to the end ahead of video game player. But it's going to be a struggle for him. But meanwhile, he won the SLR race yesterday on track, at least, if not on the scoreboard. He's won this race on the scoreboard as well. Hugos wins with a very comfortable margin from Nick, who is going to finish in 2nd place. He lapped everyone up to Revo in 7th. Did Hugos? Oh no, Milos. Oh no. And he's going to lose 9th as well to Jeremy. So Jeremy manages to get 2 points for his trouble, assuming the penalty situation is good for him, and it is. So Nick finishing second, a long way behind, and a long way behind Nick is /LP, crossing the line now. Finishing third, TipsyBob. What happened to Bance? Has Bance got a puncture? Bance has a puncture. Oh no. So Bance, as well as all of those penalties, has a puncture on the last lap. We missed that as it happened. But he is going to finish a long way behind. Tipsy finishes 4th. Bance, in fact, does jump Clara for 5th. So a top 5 for Bance. Even with a broken ankle. Or not quite broken, but certainly a damaged ankle. But there's your winner. Hugos wins the race. Wins it by quite some margin as well. GG to Hugos in the Renault. He extends his championship lead. Finishing second. A very good race actually from Nick, who I don't think had any penalties. I didn't see any. Yep, no penalties for Nick. Really good drive. Only 3 for Hugos, which is certainly an improvement on yesterday. Third, a really good drive as well for /LP. The only potential black mark is the incident that sent Triton off, but we didn't see what happened there, so it might not have been his fault at all. Tipsy finishing 4th, Bance finishing 5th, 4th and 5th for McLaren. A good result for the Constructors Championship. Clara finishing 6th. Revo, after an incident right at the start, finishing 7th with a good comeback drive. Jesse with a very good 8th. Jeremy, who did the best he could with the tyres he chose, finishes 9th. Effective actually finishes 10th, and Cursed does not score a championship point after getting himself a puncture on the last lap. So that is the race, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a fun one to watch. Always good when some rain comes in right at the end. And that's going to do us for this broadcast. Who's going to be driver of the day? It's a good question. I think I'm going to give driver of the day. I think I'm going to give it to Hugos, because after some races where he didn't quite manage to clutch earlier this week, he managed to clutch in the 2 SRL race and extend his championship lead. So Hugos driver of the day, as well as race winner. And of course, join us for more racing on Thursday night. Bance and Tipsy will bring you tier 2 of SLR, and then we'll have SLR on Saturday and 2 SRL. Not the easiest to say on the Sunday, same time as this race. But thanks for watching, everyone. And also remember, of course, the EGL tournament, which will be on the 26th of April. Thanks for watching. See you next time.